法制基金是谁？法制基金是10亿亿的，所以说法制基金是下一步的推翻共产党，属于全国人民，被美国法律监督，会成为世界上所有的政府、所有的国家接受的代表未来新中国的一个法治机构。
我向你们要负责，法治基金和干倒共产党是有关系的，不会有1分钱跟任何一个个人有关系。足够的人才能把全世界的人叫大家一起到中国去，让中国管理得更好，让中国人有更美好的未来，这就叫
法治基金已经成功。西方人了解中国，西方人相信一个地方。
One side's going to win this, and one side's going to lose it. And history, at the end of the day, is going to judge us, each and every one of you, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, of what we did individually and collectively to stop this madness.
再一次向法治基金捐款所有战友留住你们票源，任何一个人文贵和法治基金都不会让你们失望咱们还是那句话，法治基金是大家的家，是我们中国人民唯一在世界上让西方世界可以信任沟通的平台，也是我们的未来，一切都是刚刚开始。
World media is beaming this in right now to China. The most important audience we have is the Chinese people. The Committee on the Present Danger, everything we're talking about today, is not about the Chinese people. It is to help free the Chinese people. The enemy is very clear. It's the enemy of the Chinese people. That is a radical cadre of the CCP. Slaves are the honorable, terrific, hardworking people of China. Old 100 names, the backbone of Chinese society. They have been enslaved by a radical cadre led by President Xi and Wan Xishan and others of that cadre.
Bass, as well, both well known to the CNBC audience. And the Committee on Present Danger is the fourth iteration of really an organization that was built in the 1950s to counter Russian influence as well. It's gone through a number of cycles. This fourth cycle really is based on the China threat. These two gentlemen are members of that organization. Steve, to start with you, listen, okay, I heard your talk, and there's a lot of talk about the China threat. Per capita income of $9,000, right? Agrarian, pre-industrial economy still, demographic cliff. Why do you believe China really is such a threat to the United States and the global economy?
Well, look at what they're doing. Look at One Belt, One Road, made in China 2025, and the 5G rollout of Huawei. They have a converging geopolitical strategy to combine to basically unite the Eurasian landmass into one single market and to force the United States first out of the Western Pacific, then out of the Pacific overall, and off the Eurasian landmass. I mean, they are the most significant existential threat that we've ever faced. And on a per capita basis, it may be correct, but they're a major financial power, a major industrial power, and the radical cadre. This is not the Chinese people. The Chinese people are among the most hardworking and decent people in the world. This is about a radical cadre that is taking charge of the Chinese Communist Party, led by President Xi and Wang Qishan and other of his henchmen, that are driving us to really, they've been running economic war against the industrial democracies, Japan, South Korea, North America, and Western Europe. Still had the rule of law, right? We had the Constitution, we had free speech, we had freedom of religion, we had freedom of expression, we had free market capitalism. Okay, what they have is exactly opposite, right? They are basically, and this is what you see with both the Uyghurs and what their technology and their facial recognition, they essentially run almost a slave camp, right? They are a suppressive, totalitarian dictatorship that the West has financed. It's totally different than the rise of the United States, which just was a rise of another developing country like India and others. You don't see what China is foisting on the world, and right now they've got this predatory capitalism like the British East India Company that is this one belt, one road that they get these countries in debt traps, foreclose on the assets, and then take total control. So this is a radically different thing than the rise. The entire operation of the Chinese Communist Party and what they're running in China is being funded by Wall Street, which Kyle can walk through, being funded by Wall Street and corporate America. Remember, PBS or NPR had this thing the other day about intrusions into stealing intellectual property in American companies. They talked to a Treasury official that went around to like 200 companies. Not one company had been stolen from would press charges because they didn't want to be blocked out of China. Corporate America today is the lobbying arm of the Chinese Communist Party, and Wall Street is the
you have incredible debt-led growth in China, but I do agree with what Steve's saying, specifically about corporate America being the lobbying arm of the Chinese. Look at who fought CFIUS reform. Some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in the United States and Wall Street lobbied together to fight CFIUS reform.
CFIUS, the Committee for Foreign Investment in the U.S. that decides whether something is a security violation.
Right. Basically protecting national security from investment, let's say, from the Communist Party or by the Communist Party. So Steve is right 100% on who's fighting. If you look behind the scenes, it's corporate America pushing Trump to do a deal, and it's the corporate American chieftains that have their biggest businesses, let's say most growth, coming out of China. And China plays that card. They play it better than anyone else. They open a market to very specific people to basically court influence with that person and going into the
This is an interesting point. Anban Insurance Company is a money laundering and influence peddling operation of this Chinese Communist Party, CCP. It wasn't fraud. He got caught up in the anti-corruption thing. He basically screwed up, essentially. Over here doing deals, he had too much exposure.
You think they're putting one of their own away?
100%.
They became too famous.
Too famous. They put
just like Jack Ma.
15. Yeah, just Jack Ma. What they have done.
What about Jack Ma?
Well, Jack Ma, they fired him as Alibaba. They removed him.
He retired.
Yeah, he retired.
He stepped down.
Right.
He retired.
Does he still own his stock? It's gone.
Right. Same thing happened in H&A.
He had to sign it over to five guys, unnamed individuals.
The chairman of H&A was the same way. The chairman of H&A died mysteriously taking a selfie off a 5-foot wall in France, in Provence last summer. You know, H&A and Anban Insurance were the two biggest money laundering and influence peddling operations of the Chinese Communist Party. This is how they got their capital into the West. Anban Insurance Company was too sloppy. It wasn't because of fraud. It's because of what they call the anti-corruption. This is Wang Qishan putting them. It's 20 years of hard labor. So, and he comes from the Deng Xiaoping faction.
But
This
do
is
you
how
know
much
why-
control.
but you know
this
why-
is the CCP has absolutely total control of China. This is not about the Chinese
But
people. The Chinese people are the most decent, hardworking people in the world. They're enslaved now by a totalitarian dictatorship.